Spiritual meaning of lotus flowers. Lotus flowers are beautiful flowers that are commonly associated with purity, inner strength and tranquility, but its symbolism extends beyond that. The flower plays a symbolic role in various religions such as Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and Jainism. Given its deep symbolic meanings and connection to religion, the lotus flower is considered one of the most sacred plants. Without further ado, let's talk about the symbolism of the lotus flower, and particularly her meaning in dreams. Lotus flower symbolism. The meanings behind the flower relate to the symbolism of the lotus growing out of muddy waters. The flower's roots anchor it in the mud, but the flower rises above its murky environment, blossoming open one petal at a time. Based on these unique growing conditions, the lotus flower has come to have many symbolic meanings. The lotus represents spiritual enlightenment. Regardless of its dirty environment and the muddy water it's rooted in, the lotus rises above it all to bloom in beauty, facing the sun. This is symbolic of overcoming the material world and emerging from the muddy waters of suffering to reach spiritual enlightenment and wisdom. The flower symbolizes detachment as the lotus detaches itself from the water and filth that sullies its environment. This symbolism serves as a reminder to separate ourselves from things that could sully our soul and to instead focus on the things that matter, such as wisdom, relationships and spiritual enlightenment. Lotuses also symbolize resurrections and new beginnings. The flower emerges in the morning, only to close up at night and disappear back into the water. In the morning, a new blossom reemerges and continues the cycle. This representation makes the lotus a common flower at funerals. This is also why the flower was popular in Egyptian symbolism. The lotus represents purity and cleanliness, as it's able to emerge from the murky waters pure and unsullied. In particular, the flower represents the purity of the human soul, as the center of the flower is never tainted by its journey, nor is it by the daily exposure to the murky water. The lotus flower blooms slowly one petal at a time, which is similar to the gradual steps required to reach spiritual enlightenment. In this sense, the lotus is a symbol of personal progress. Regardless of the color of the petals, the middle is typically yellow, which represents the goal of enlightenment. The lotus has also been associated with nature and womanhood. Some representations use a lotus bud to symbolize a virgin. In contrast, a fully grown flower is a mature, sexually experienced female. The lotus is also an excellent example of remaining true to yourself and who you are. Regardless of the murky waters and environment, the lotus remains grounded, proud of what it is, and yet still a part of its environment. It beautifies it and makes it better simply by being there. Lotus flowers and dream meaning in a dream. The lotus acts as a symbol of mystery, fulfillment of the desired, as well as the ability to touch the world of the unknown. If you dreamed of a sacred flower of lotus, then you are marked by fate as a person of extraordinary destiny. This is a symbolic reflection of magical abilities and hidden talents that must be developed. Did you see a strange flower in a dream? So, the most favorable time has come for the disclosure of your creative potential. If you dream of a broken lotus, this means separation and breakup of relations are coming. Withered lotus, however, marks revived feelings and the advent of old age. Lotus also identifies spiritual awakening, the degeneration of the negative principle into something good and bright. This flower predicts that you will perform an unusually wise act. That's all for today. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new here. Thanks for watching.